Good morning, Medora. May I start presenting my thesis proposal draft by introducing the chapter 1 analysis, self-analysis and a critical review of chapter 1 thesis proposal. First, I will introduce the background and the statement of the problem. A. Clarity and the contextualization of the research problem. So the research problem in this study is clearly stated and well contextualized. The background begins with the both discussions of education as a fundamental human right and gradually narrows down to the specific challenges faced in remote border schools. This creates a logical and economic progression from the general to specific context. For example, the following statement clearly introduces the context. In the first century, repeat the advertisement in the digital technology as a significantly transformed teaching and a learning practice around the world. This is then contrasts with the reality in remote areas. However, the reality of education in a remote and border schools is significantly different from that in urban areas. The core research problem is explicitly stated in the sentence. There is still limited research that specifically explore how EFL teachers develop and maintain the resilience in the digital era with a remote border schools context. This sentence effectively identifies the focus of the studies, which is EFL teachers resilience in a remote border schools. B. Logical follow from the background to problem. The background logically lends to problem through a shapes of a well context, I guess. 1. Global digital transformation in education. Inequality between urban and remote education. That specific challenges in a remote border schools. 4. Teachers' rules and expectations. 5. Lack of research on a teacher resilience. Key transactional and press that show this logical follows. However, the reality introduced the contracts. This limitation didn't explain the consequences. As a result, so impact. This reality indicates the lens to interpretation. However, there is still limited research identify the caves. This phrase effectively guides the reader from context issue research problem. C. Strength and weakness, strongest parts. So here they have 3 points. Clear contextualization of the remote education challenges. Use of real locations in Kivirok and Tumolbil. Integration of the personal experience adds authenticity and originality. Inclusion of supporting the scholars Mr. Mike Wash, Mr. Melchior Sitokdana, and Mr. Kerel Kahipdana. Areas that need improvement. Some repetition of the challenges, etc., and limit infrastructure, lack of teachers, appears in the multiple paragraphs. Categorize the lames and a general and need stronger evidence. Impact on a literacy and motivation. The transition between the personal experience and academic discussion can be smarter. 2. Research scape and significant. A. Identification of a research scape. The research scape is explicitly defined, not just implied. It is clear and stated in the following statement. However, there is still limited research that specifically explore how EFL teachers develop and maintain the resilience in the digital era within the remote border educational context. This statement directly highlights the 5 points here. So what is the missing research on EFL teachers resilience? Where remote border schools? When context digital era? However, the case could be straightened by comparing with the exciting studies, mostly urban-focused research, adding more recent or multiple reference. B. Significance of the study. The study clearly explained it's important in the three areas. So first, economic significance contributed to the literature in the teacher resilience in EFL teaching. Second, practical significance. Help teachers apply adaptive strategies. 3. Policy significance. Supports decision making for education in remote areas. 4. Future research contribution. Prepares the reference for further studies. This multiple dimensional significance is a strong point of the proposal. Evidence that support my study needed. The need for the study is supported by real-world challenges in remote schools, government efforts that are not fully effective. Expect opinion, Mr. Mike West and Mr. Merkiol Sitokdana and Mr. Kerel Kahipdana. My personal life experience during my schooling days. However, the studies could be stronger if it includes statistical data, etc., and teachers' insufficient internet access rates, more recent academic sources. 3. Research questions and objectives. A. Evaluation of the research questions. The research questions are first point, clear. Each question is understandable, researchable, can be answered throughout qualitative methods and interview case studies. Aliens directly connected to the research problem. For example, challenges aliens with the problem context and strengths aliens with the resilience focus. Stakeholder support, aliens with the significant. B. Question revision. Some questions can be improved for clarity and focus. Original. How do limited infrastructure teaching materials and language barriers influence the English learning process? Improve. How do limitation in the infrastructure teaching materials and language barriers affective EFL teaching and learning in remote border schools? Original. How can educational stakeholders support EFL teachers? What forms of support can educational stakeholders prepare to enhance EFL teaching effectiveness in remote border schools? This revision improves academic tone, provisions, and consistency with the objectives. And C. Alignment of objectives. The objectives are well aligned with the research question. Research question is about challenges, impact of limitation, teacher strategies, stakeholder support, and objectives. Identify challenges, examine impact, explore resilience strategies, prepare a recommendation. 4. Overall coherence of chapter 1. A. Logical follow across a section. Chapter 1 follows the logical in this order. First, background of the study, introduce the context and issue. 2. Statement of the problem, defines the specific problem. Third, research question, breaks the problem into the reasonable parts. 4. Objectives, start what the study aims to achieve. 5th, scope and limitation, defines boundaries. 6. Significance of the studies, explain importance. This structure follows the standard economic consequences and demonstration strong coherence. B. Sections that need improvement. Background section slightly too long and repetitively. Research gate could be more shapely emphasized. Personal experience paragraph needs smoother academic integration. C. Blended revision. Revision 1. Reduce repetition. Combine repeated point about lack of infrastructure, teacher influence insufficiency, limit resources. Revision 2. Strain research gate. Add comprehensions with previous studies. Include the recent reference. Make the gate more specific and analytical. Revision 3. Improve academic tone. Refine the personal experience paragraph to sound more critical. Use linking sentence for the smarter transaction. Conclusion of the chapter 1 analysis. Overall, chapter 1 is strong, relevant, and well-structured. The study presented a clear research problem supported by a contextual evidence and aliens research questions. The inclusion of a real-world experience adds depth and originality. However, improvements are needed in reducing the repetition, strengthening the results gave more evidence, engaging academic tone and transaction. With this revision, the chapter will be more coherent, perceived, and academically rigorous and ready for a proposal defense. So below is the reference of the thesis proposal. That's it, and thank you.